Today I'm going to show you how to make a cocoon cardigan like this one using Tunisian crochet. Bettina Goetje from our Woolly Hugs group crocheted it, and now I have the honor to show you how it's done. You'll need 10 balls of the Woolly Hugs sheep color. That equals 500 grams. Here I used green mint color, and for the facing, an additional 2 balls of the Woolly Hugs sheep, so 100 grams, in a matching monochrome color. I'm using mint. The sheep, whether it's color or monochrome, consists of 50% wool, 28% cotton, and 22% polyamide, and has a length of 110 meters per 50 gram. That is pretty long, which is why 600 gram will suffice for this rather big cardigan. I use a needle size 8, which is a USL or a UK 0, from Addy, out of the Tunisian set. And we attach a cord, because for this cocoon cardigan we need to cast on 200 stitches. Also, for the facing you'll need a double-ended Tunisian crochet hook, because we work that in rounds. This one here is from Addy as well. I start with a pattern that is divisible by 9, plus 2 additional stitches so that the pattern adds up left and right. First I'm gonna crochet the gauge with you. For that I remove the cord real quick so that it doesn't make noise on my desk. Now I cast on 20 stitches, so 2 times 9 equals 18, because the pattern has to be divisible by 9, and 2 additional ones. So altogether 20 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Now I turn the chain forward just a little bit and insert into the transverse part on the back of the stitch, and pick up a second loop out of the 19th stitch. Then out of the 18th, 17th, 16th, all the way up to the first stitch, all out of the back of the stitches. The reason I do that is because that way the border will look nice and neat at the end. Alright, only the first one left. So that was our first row. We picked up all stitches and now have altogether 20 loops. Same amount as in our cast on chain. Now we do our first wrong side row. First we chain 1, and from then on we get the yarn from below and pull it through 2 loops at a time. 1 loop and 2. 1, 2. I keep repeating that until I have my first right and wrong side row finished. And now we start the second right side row. The loop on the needle is going to be our first stitch. And now I pick up stitches out of these vertical bits of the stitches. 1 stitch each. Insert the hook, get the yarn from below and pull it through. Always get the yarn from below. Now for our second wrong side row. First we again chain 1 and then cast off 2 together 2 times. Next we cast off 3 together. 3. Then chain 1, cast off 2 together, chain 1 and cast off 3 stitches together. Then we cast off 2 together 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now we continue and repeat casting off 2 together 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then cast off 3 together once. 1, 2, 3. Chain 1, cast off 2 together. 1, 2. Chain 1 and again 3 together. This whole part keeps repeating itself. So 2 together 4 times, 3 together once, chain 1, 2 together once, chain 1 and 3 together. And at the end of the row we cast off all remaining stitches by casting off 2 together 3 times. Now we start the next right side row. Again, I pick up the stitches out of this vertical part of each stitch. And then here, where I casted off 2 together in the previous row, I also get them together now. So pull the yarn through both of them. Now we insert here, below the chain stitch, and pull the yarn through. Then out of the single vertical stitch. Insert underneath the chain stitch and then pull through both stitches we casted off together before. Now we pick up 4 stitches out of the 4 vertical stitches. This too will repeat itself continuously. 4 single stitches, 2 together, below the chain stitch, 1 single stitch, below the chain stitch, and 2 together. That repeats itself. 4 single stitches, 2 together, below the chain stitch, 1 single stitch, below the chain stitch, and 2 together. We end the row with 2 single stitches and the border stitch. Here you insert into both loops. The wrong side row is the same as the previous one. Chain 1, cast off 2 together twice, cast off 3 together, chain 1, 2 together, chain 1, 3 together. And again we repeat the following. Cast off 2 together 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. Cast off 3 together, chain 1, cast off 2 together, chain 1, and cast off 2 together once more. We repeat these 9 stitches constantly. And at the end of the row, here we need to cast off 3. At the end we cast off the remaining stitches pairwise. So 3 times 2. We repeat that constantly. I'll show you again. Right side row. We start by picking up stitches out of the first 2 vertical stitches. This here was a loop from the beginning that was already on the needle. Insert into 2 together. Below the chain stitch, 1 single stitch, below the chain stitch, 2 together, then 1 single stitch each out of the 4 vertical stitches, then 2 together, below the chain stitch, single stitch, below the chain stitch, and 2 together. We end with 2 single stitches and the border stitch. Wrong side row. Chain 1, cast off 2 together twice, 3 together, chain 1, cast off 2 together, chain 1, cast off 3 together, then cast off 2 together 4 times. Like I said, the rows always stay the same. Cast off 3 together, chain 1, 2 together, chain 1, and 3 together. These 9 stitches keep repeating themselves. 1, 2, 3, 4 times 1 single stitch, then 3 together, chain stitch, single stitch, chain stitch, 2 together. And the remaining stitches we cast off pairwise, 2 together 3 times. Just keep repeating this pattern. Okay, I did a couple of rows now. Please do the same so you get a nice gauge at the end. You need to have 11 stitches for 10 centimeters and for the height 7 or 8 rows. The height is not that important. We come about that later in the pattern because we measure it. But for the width, it's important that you get the 11 stitches for 10 centimeters. Okay, now you cast on 200 stitches for the Cocoon cardigan. 198 is divisible by 9, plus 2 additional stitches. Then you work this pattern until you have 72 centimeters counting from the cast on row. After that, we cast off all stitches. First chain 1, then we do a slip stitch each, just like we do with the basic pattern. Here too, insert into 2 stitches, then insert below the chain stitch for the next slip stitch, into the single stitch, below the chain stitch, and 2 together. After that, the 4 single stitches. Two together, below the chain stitch, single, below the chain stitch, 2 together. Remember, these are the 9 stitches that you then keep repeating. And then at the end we have 2 single stitches and the border stitch. Insert the hook, pull the yarn through, and then pull it through once more. Cut off the yarn and keep a rather long end. So imagine this now is your cocoon cardigan. This would be the whole width of 200 stitches and the height of 27 centimeters. Next, you line up the cast on edge with the cast off edge, resulting in a rectangular shape. And here in the fold, left and right, will be the armholes. At the side, you then sew together a couple of the bottom centimeters. At the top, counting from the fold, you leave open 16 centimeters for the armholes. And at the bottom, you sew together 20 centimeters. (16 plus 20 equals 36). These 36 times 2 equal exactly the 72 centimeters we crocheted starting from the cast on edge. Obviously, that's different for the gauge I'm making right now, because its only purpose is to give you an idea of how it looks in the end. Same goes for the other side. We sew together the bottom 20 centimeters. On Facebook I created a group, Woolly Hugs, where you can find a lot more ideas for this technique. But not only Tunisian crochet, knitting and regular crochet as well. Members frequently upload a lot of different ideas and designs, so have a look around if you're interested. Alright, only thing left to do is the facing, which we will work in rounds. For that, we now use the monochrome yarn. I start picking up stitches here at one of the seams, and then pick up one stitch out of each stitch of the cast-off row. One stitch out of every stitch that we casted off before. And once you have enough stitches on your needle, you get started with the second ball of yarn. We catch up with that second yarn on the other end of our double-ended hook. First, pull the yarn through one loop, and then always through 2 at a time. That's how you do Tunisian crochet in the round. And once you're caught up and only have 1 or 2 loops left on your needle, you turn your work around and continue picking up the stitches. 1 out of every stitch. When the needle is full, we again catch up with our second yarn. I'm almost done with the first round. Now I'm at the start of the first row again, so I can already pick up the stitches here. For that, I knit one and purl one in turns. Knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl. And here too we catch up with the other yarn as usual. And like that you crochet all the way around. In the second round of the knit and purl, you just shift the stitches. Where you had a purl stitch before, you now knit one, and the other way around. You crochet all together 5 rounds. And when you're done, you just cast off the whole thing, and then your cocoon cardigan is finished. So that's it. I hope you had fun with this tutorial. If so, you're welcome to subscribe to my channel. I frequently upload new ideas and designs. Hope to see you soon. Love, Veronika.